So there is a digital space that we want to explore Chintu with. So there are small 30-second clips of Chintu, which would go viral on maybe on a YouTube or Facebook, simple mobile gaming that we are planning to do. And then there are other elements that we are trying to explore with Chintu, be it environment or health or education, with the entertaining factor to it. But to begin with, we have a digital domain to explore for Chintu. And then if at all it pans out into TV episodic or animated feature film, yes. But it's a great property. And Charvas and Prabhakar has a lot to credit for, because there is a rich history for the content, so we are not trying to create something which is overstretched either, or wanting to be a superhero kind of stuff. Not blaming Chota Bheem at all. But yeah, it's a great property, and we are trying to, more than exploit, we are trying to explore the options.
So excellent, we're all looking forward to that, I'm sure. Coming to your growth phase of your organization, a couple of achievements that you'd like to cite, a couple of disappointments or mistakes made along the way. Would you like to cite something?
Achievements are such that, whenever the film that we are trying to work for or working for, whenever the film does well, it's an achievement for us. It is not all the time that visual effects are the integral part of filmmaking process. At times they are the story, or at times they have to support the story. Let's say consider this film called Dev, which was a Marathi film in 2012, which won all national awards were won by that film, and all the visual effects for the film was done by my studio. So we felt really nice, So that was an achievement by itself. So any good work which has been appreciated, which has been well received, is an achievement itself.
And any disappointments or mistakes that made along the way which you would have felt?
Mistakes I won't say. Disappointments are there. Disappointment was rather a huge one, which was my company earlier was called Toolbox, which got acquired in 2008, and by 2010 I was thrown out of my own company. So that was a huge disappointment. So before that I was working as let's say proprietary firm for 2 years, and then we got acquired, which was a dream come true scenario. As I said, there were many challenges. So to train our own resources and to train people and to have our own studio, so industry and the academics to put together. And Anand has a lot to thank for with that particular thought, because he came up with the idea that this kind of scenario should have talked to each other, as in they should merge together, and that is the only way that the animation industry would benefit both ways. So it was a good marriage, but that did not last long. So that was a huge disappointment, and I was back to square one. So it's been again 3 more years after that, and yeah, we are getting that wherever that we wanted to be. It will take some time though.
So are there any challenges that you're encountering in the growth phase of your journey? Are there any particular challenges that you'd like to mention here?
Well, there are challenges, as in there are challenges on every front. So whenever that competition is won, so let's say when I'm trying to compete with the bigger studios in terms of services that they offer, I can't offer those services because I'm just a visual effects studio, and the people I'm trying to compete with are the bigger, they are the studios by themselves, where there is a lab is there, editing facility is there, audio studio is there, visual effects is there, TiE is there. So you go with a can of film, which is raw film, and then you come out with a product. So trying to expand in that particular manner, or having one more service to offer, and as into when and how, I would not say challenge, but that is in the making. But for now, that is one aspect that I'm thinking of, which can be termed as challenge. And again, retaining your people is a huge challenge by itself. Education is still, I would say, lacking a lot. So our main issue is to train our own resources, and if you, let's say, train somebody for 3 or 4 years and he or she leaves your studio, uh, then you're pretty much, lost all the time that you have invested with. And the way we operate is pretty much like a family-oriented business in terms of the work culture I'm talking about, not in terms of deliverables. But I have always tried to have that same kind of work environment that I had in Hollywood. Work culture has to be like that, and the work ethics also should be like that. So retaining your own staff is a great challenge. Although there has been an opportunity for everybody to grow, because I like to take them everywhere, because somebody has to go on the sets and see how the shooting is being done if they have to do the set supervision tomorrow. So in that manner, that is one huge challenge that I see. But other than that, it's a pretty smooth sailing.
Okay. And looking back in your journey, would you have done anything differently?
I don't think so. I feel it's better to make your mistakes on your own. Although, this being an entrepreneur or having to have your own setup or any own business is a lot of, or it has a lot to do with the passion. And I feel, while you're passionate, passion overrides the logic at times, which is okay. But for you not to make mistakes, it's very important to have people who are good mentors and who can, guide you in a better manner. So one of which is sitting right here, and the next one is actually, I don't know whether you have a question with that, but oh, you do. Okay. So probably you ask that question, then I'll answer.
We'll come to that later, because that's a very focused question. But come to future plans in your growth trajectory. What are your future plans that you have now?
Well, we are doing, or we are trying to penetrate with the Hindi film industry, and there are quite a projects that we are working on right now. To have another vertical which would cater to a different service along with visual effects is what we are thinking of, which is, by now every movie is made on digital cameras, so everything is quite digital. So nobody's processing films and printing their films anymore. So we are trying to get into that scenario whereby we would say the TiE, which is a digital intermediate, which is basically color correction and color grading thing. So we want to have that as a parallel vertical along with visual effects. And yes, I would like to always go back to the education, not go back as in I would want to have a wing which is catering towards education, whether it be a finishing school or I don't know. We are tied up with a couple of schools in Pune, so there are people who come to do an internship with the studio. So in a way that is going on. But to have a full-fledged education wing is something that we would like to go back to maybe in a 2-3 years time.
That's fantastic. It's a great way to sort of integrate forward in your stream, and I'm sure it's going to have a huge lucrative potential for the same. Coming to the industry perspective, you worked both now in Hollywood as well as Bollywood over the years. So what is the key differentiator in the two as far as your animation and visual effects industry is concerned?
Oh, in terms of animation, it's huge. We are probably 20-30 years behind. I worked on a film called Finding Nemo, which was in 2000. So I started working on that film in 2000. So in terms of animation, the difference is quite huge. Or even in terms of live action feature films. But mainly it has to do with the education and the kind of people that you have to work with. And I don't know, this entire industry is pretty new to us, so it'll take some time. But it all depends on, there is no, this has been talked over and over and many times, because we always say that there is no compromise in Hollywood, and people in Bollywood would have chalta hai kind of approach. It is still there, but I think that gap has been, not as wide as it used to be. With the kind of resources which are there, who have been trained in colleges, or even the approach is something which is diametrically opposite. So there is a huge difference in terms of thought process. There are quite many things which are still not existent, let's say production